Nexus Wormhole.
You are in the Nexus Wormhole with your host, Sonic Rascal. Hey everyone out there, welcome back to another episode of the Nexus Wormhole with your host, Sonic Rascal, and our co-host, as always, Leche de Mono, Mad Monkey Milk. How are you out there?
In the vortex. I'm in the vortex. Ready to go. Ready to shoot fire from the hip.
Bro, let's do it. It's time to get down. So we were talking before the podcast about the Transformers. You caught that series too. What are your first thoughts?
Amazing.
It's
Fucking
great.
amazing.
It's great. It made me happy, man. I'll tell you what, they got the characters right.
For any Transformers fans out there, the true heads, the ones that have been following them since 1985, 84,
right. 80s, right.
When the shit was fucking launched for the first time, when the fucking Cybertron ship launched to Earth and it hit ground zero out in the desert. Teletron 1, all the fucking classics.
Teletron.
You can't go wrong with this series. This has been probably the biggest nerdgasm I've had in probably years. I mean, I didn't expect it, and maybe that's part of the reason why it was so good. I really thought, it's on Netflix, so if you don't have it, well, I guess, try to figure a way of getting it. If you have Netflix and you're really into Transformers, man, don't wait. Don't think about it. Don't read any reviews, because I hate to say it, but when you read a review, it just takes away from you making your own mind up about the show or the movie. Yeah. Go out there and watch it with your own, free thinking mind. But let me tell you, I'm a diehard Transformers fan, and all I have to say is fucking Jetfire, man.
Look,
amazing.
So let's start out. So I saw the Netflix promo. I got scared, with all this cancel culture and all this crazy stuff going on. I thought, man, they got a bunch of weird, crazy, politically correct millennials, and Optimus Prime now is not even a truck. He is some kind of, submarine that hangs around France, and he started to, learn to cook bread. Seriously, I thought it was something crazy like that. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Nothing that there's anything wrong with cooking bread or hanging around France. I'm just saying.
Save it for the cooking shows.
Right, save it for the cooking shows. Some of the people that are taking over shows now don't really know the history, and they want to make the characters either change completely to fit their agenda, political agenda, or
to make money. To
clickbait, whatever. So I was very hesitant. I saw the promo at first, and to be honest, I was like, well, some of the animation looks like Beast Wars, kind of. I didn't really look at it too fast. You remember Beast Wars? Did you ever see that with Optimus?
Whatever the fuck that was. There's some fans of that shit, but I could never get into that. Optimus Primus.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know. It might not be good. And I watched the first episode based on what you told me. And I really actually started liking the animation. It had its own style, even though
it had its own style. Yeah, it did.
And that's hard to do with computer animation.
It is.
It's gotten to the point now that some animators that using computer graphics are not using that weird, kind of. It really had a style to it. I don't know how they did it. It was really cool. And it starts out with Optimus Prime and the war in Cyber. There's a war going on, and of course, Megatron. He's pretty much trumping out.
Pretty much. But you know what was cool is that, as a geek of the show, and there's always that, when you're hanging out with the boys and your friends and you're talking about, I wonder what that was like. And you start theorizing about, theories of where the Autobots came from, or what the wars were, and what was the division, and all these things. Where you're just nerding out as a kid watching the show. Whoever put this idea together. You can tell loved the animation of the original series, loved the characters, loved their each character was so unique in the animated series, and you could tell that they just brought love to that project. Whoever spearheaded it clearly had every intention of living up to the potential and the true story arc of the Transformers animated series. And then that's what they did. It's really a prequel to them coming to Earth. And man, they are just on point. I mean, on point on everything. They don't miss a beat. It's that good.
Well, what I was surprised about too is that, I was a fan of the old series. And, there's a lot of the writers have written a lot of, really cool stories, explaining the mythology behind Cybertron and the Guardians and all these other, creatures that live in this universe. And how, let's take the example of Jetfire. You remember back in the old days, he was like this, you probably remember it better than I do. He was a flying, was he an Autobot back then in the 1985 cartoon series?
In the original series, he's not an Autobot. He used to be, he's the partner of Starscream in Cybertron. So that gives you a hint that he was really a Decepticon. They just never gave him a Decepticon emblem. And by the end of the show of the Transformers in the animated series in the 80s, they make him an Autobot. So that whole episode blurs the line of who did Jetfire really belong to. In the end, he does have a code, and he always follows that code. And in the show, they really get into who Jetfire was, which to me, I was a big well, in the original show, he used to be called Skyfire, not Jetfire.
Right. Yeah. That is the same character, right?
It's the same character. It's just that in Japan, they called him Jetfire.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
How you know these guys really were into it.
Oh, man. They were.
In Japan, he was Jetfire. In the States, he was Skyfire. Both names are kick-ass. But he was only in two, three or four episodes of the animated series in the 80s. And then they took that character and they bring him to life in this show. And I mean, hands down, man, amazing.
Well, the writing's amazing. They kept to the core of what the Autobots and Decepticons are about. They kept that, that King Arthur kind of code, the code of the Autobots, the leadership, Optimus Prime. They had the Starfighter, with the Allspark. They brought that back too, which is great. And also Megatron being he spent time, they never really touched this back in the old series in the mid 80s, where they never explained, or maybe the story was kind of left open to them being in these pits. So that somehow the Decepticons end up working and kind of maintaining Cybertron. So other Autobots and other...
They used to be slaves.
Right. And they got tough over there, and maybe they lost a war before. I don't know what happened, how they ended up being in the pits, but that made them stronger and tougher. And now you see
like Conan.
Right, exactly. And you see Megatron, man, there's a couple of scenes when he lies to the people and he uses, straight he's a politician, man.
There is politics in the show, and I think some of it, for the young kids, they're not probably going to pick it up. It's just all really cool and kick-ass shit. But for the adults that are going to be watching it, you're going to pick up a lot of elements that are relevant to the struggles society's going through right now, especially the Black Lives Matter movement, the equality movement, and also I think the slavery movement. There's a lot of racial not tension, but undertones. I think just undertones.
Right.
And the cool thing about this show is, for the first time, they really show a true motivation as to why Megatron is so evil.
The weird part.
You always take him as evil, but you never really understood why is Megatron hate the Autobots so much.
Well, that
This
makes
changes
sense.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, they put you in a pit for who knows how many years.
Thousands of years, yeah. They're robots.
Who knows how many years, but all I know is that there's a lot of references to the pits, and you see a lot of times Megatron speaking to the crowd and literally making the Autobots bad.
Yeah.
He changes stories around, propaganda, whatever's really going on, he turns it around or he lies about it and says, no, we're being persecuted. It's not, it's really good. And everybody's screaming. And then, like, you know, the whole thing about torture too with Ultra Magnus is great. Oh, that's so good.
Ultra Magnus,
The military,
he's character.
Great character. He's got the, you know, and Bumblebee was great too. Bumblebee
was
amazing. Come on, man. He is like the Han Solo. He's like this guy.
He really is.
He's got no side. He's got, you know, he's not a bad guy, but he's telling, look, I don't want any part of this war. You're kind of nuts, Optimus, and the Decepticons are going to take you out. I don't want nothing to do with this. He's a scavenger, man. It's so good.
So good until he finally chooses a side. And the way when you get to when they developed that whole Bumblebee arc to when he finally sort of chooses a side, it never felt weird or it never felt forced.
Remember,
it felt right.
Ultra Magnus is tired. He's Optimus Prime's military commander, and Optimus is kind of stubborn because he doesn't want to give in. He doesn't want to give up.
Like most leaders.
Most leaders are. Stubborn. And to be honest with you, at some point you start thinking, well, why don't you just, you know, try to make peace? But he kind of knows that Megatron's not going to, you know, he's got something about him that makes him a leader. He knows better than anyone else. And he carries the leadership?
The Matrix.
The Matrix. So Ultra Magnus also has, what did he have? Because when he gets...
He has the Alpha Trion protocols inside of him that keep him in line and keep him in the line of doing what's right for the
diplomacy,
for the Cybertron.
Right? Cybertron history,
which is great.
Wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And then he tries to talk to Megatron, thinking it's not a, you know, it can't be a bad mood, it can't be completely horrible, and of course Megatron betrays him, and there's that line, "Me and you fought together." You know
that line, man.
That's very, very interesting because they were once friends, and Megatron turns against them, ends up pretty much. Who's the Decepticon with the one eye? Who's that creepy guy?
Shockwave.
Shockwave. That boy.
Shockwave. They really take him to another level. They took him to another level.
Let me experiment on him.
That shit. I mean, there's a lot of.
You know what?
You guys have to just see it if you haven't already, and if you have, drop some comments down. Tell us what you thought about the whole. You know, the show, what you like, what you didn't like, just make conversation, you know.
It's a great show.
Definitely. And if you've never seen Transformers, for the you know, the audience that we have here that maybe is from another country, definitely look them up. And I'm not talking about the movies. The movies, they're just flat. There's not a real representation of what the show was. It's just a
very different
scheme.
Very different than the show.
It's cool, hot cars, hot babes, you know, it's sell some popcorn and some tickets, but it's not what Transformers really was about. I think for the culture of those that grew up in Transformers, it's more meaningful than that.
Right.
Like Star Wars, like, you know, just the fans of, you know, those kind of franchises. You know, they take it you take it serious. I take my Transformers serious. This shit is off the hook.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. And, you know, I think you guys should check it out. Yeah, I think everyone should check it out either way. I think it's a great, great, great animation and with a backstory. And let's move on to the second topic. What should we talk about? You said something about masks before the podcast.
Yeah, well, the whole masks thing, it's interesting. At least I'm curious to see how other people are reacting in the world. Again, I'm interested to see it in the comment section for those fans of the podcast. You know, leave us a comment. Let us know what do you think. What's your take on the masks situation. And those that are listening from another country, I'm just curious how what is the perspective from another country other than the United States on how their community, their country, their state is handling wearing masks, because in the States, this bullshit about the masks is turning into a full-blown national debate.
Yeah, I mean, the way I've dealt with it, I just don't even think about it anymore. If I go into a store, I wear it. If I'm outside, I try to stay far away from anybody so I don't have to wear it. I wear a bandana anyway. I don't wear a mask anymore. I don't wear them. I put it up and down, and it's, I think of it as a Lone Ranger. It's
Yeah.
too much for me. I don't, people say bandanas are not 100% proof, well, neither are masks. So I just do my
True.
best to respect people and their beliefs. But other than that, I think this whole thing is just absolutely insane. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I think the interesting thing that's happening in the States is people are looking at the masks as a negative, with a negative connotation.
Sure.
And then
sure.
there's almost like a civil unrest with these masks. And it's strange to me. Regardless, I don't think anybody wants to wear a mask. Let's face it. We all know that prior to COVID hitting the States, nobody wore a fucking mask.
Right,
Nobody thought about wearing a mask unless you had an oxygen tank that was trailing behind you and you were really bad and you needed an oxygen mask. Other than that, you didn't see people wearing a mask. So I don't think anybody really in the States is like in a real, in real desire to be walking around with a mask and they're happy about it. But then there's a faction of people that are starting to rebel with statements of, I'm not going to wear a mask because it's my damn right to do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I'm a proud, free thinking American. And then what's happening with that statement
right.
is that when you're walking into a place where masks are not mandated,
right.
or and you just happen to walk in with a mask and there's people there that don't have them, they're looking at you like you're doing something wrong.
Sure.
And then there creates the problem of, we are creating inequality, we're creating animosity for a person that wears a mask and the person that doesn't wear a mask, and vice versa. Some people walk in with masks on and they look at the guy without a mask or the female without a mask and they're mad.
Right.
And they're saying, why didn't you wear a mask? And then there's the ones that don't wear a mask saying,
look,
what the fuck do you think you're doing in my free country? I could do whatever I want to do. Why are you wearing that mask? You're not free. This you're it's almost like treasonous to walk around wearing a mask. And I think this is how bad it's become in the States, that people are not caring about the welfare of anybody else.
No, I agree 100%.
All they care about is their statements of freedom. And hey, listen, I'm all, hey, dude, you want to get COVID? Go for it. You want to go and experience the sickness, or maybe you won't get sick. Good for you.
Super
maybe you
flu. Yeah, take a chance.
Or you want to take a chance, and that's on you.
That's on you.
For you.
That's what I say too, man.
They're starting to push this onto other people that wear masks. And look, I'm not for masks. I don't care about the mask, but I don't get upset at the person that's wearing a mask.
Right.
And if I have to go in a place where they ask for a mask because they want to do the right thing, I'm not going to upset the status quo here and not wear one.
I'll tell you what my opinion is. I think this is just a problem with people here. You could take the masks, you probably apply to anything else, but the problem is that the masks are kind of being made mandatory, and you have people that don't have any. It's about common sense to me, okay? If you're outside and you're 20 feet away from somebody, and I've seen this at a park, and somebody's not wearing a mask, and you're wearing a mask, and you start yelling at somebody, that's so far away because they're not wearing a mask, there's something wrong with you. Okay. They literally would have to be speaking next to you or screaming at you. There's no mandatory need for somebody to be wearing a mask or should have to wear a mask, even if, especially outside. I mean, it's like going hiking. I've heard crazy stories about that. When you go to a store like Costco and the manager tells you to wear a mask, look, man, it's their store. I'm going to put the damn mask on. I don't want to be on YouTube. I don't want to be in, my whole thing has always been this. This pandemic will end eventually. They will either find a vaccine, they won't. Whatever it is, a super flu, a real bad disease from China, not from China, it is killing people. It is contagious. Some people seem to beat it. Some people can't beat it. Nobody knows what's going on with that, but those are the facts that I've seen. And the weird thing for me is going to be is when, you have maybe 100 cases in the country a year from now, 2 years from now, who knows, maybe 6 months, if people are still telling you, you got to put the mask on. That's where I'm going to be like, why? But see, it's so weird to me, the whole thing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure you have a different opinion about that.
Well, no, I think
it doesn't
you're
make
right,
any
man.
sense. It's just common sense. Like I've seen old ladies crying because somebody didn't have a mask near them and they're just about to have a heart attack. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to give an old lady who's probably left alone, now has to figure out when to shop, when not to go to the store, what time she should go, what she should get. Watching Fox, CNN, all these, they're left and right. They're both extreme. I don't care what you tell me. They're all loony. And they're all just clickbait, trying to scare people off. And everybody, it's just nuts, man. It's like the movie we're talking about, watering plants with Gatorade. It's what I feel like. That's what is that movie again?
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is that unfortunately we have this division, and it's sad because we really, if everybody wants to go back to normal, if everybody wants to go back to no fucking masks,
right?
If everybody wants to go back to going out whenever they damn please, whether it's a bar or whether it's go-karting, whatever the fuck you want to do, whether there's people there or not, we're not helping the situation to get things better. So nobody puts that in perspective. And instead, they are gridlocking the virus to stay, or they're gridlocking the idea of this virus. I mean, you see the numbers. They keep going up. They keep going up, obviously, because we have this complete disconnection. What you're talking about is be empathetic of other people. And that's sad to say, but I feel like in the States, there's no empathy. There's no empathy. There's no sympathy. And you're not thinking about, your fellow brother, citizen, your fellow human being that you share this earth with. Instead, all you're thinking about again,
it's your agenda, your politics, your conspiracy.
The real Me Too movement. It's all about me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can see that with other things, but I think this pandemic has brought out really, I hate to say it, the worst in everybody. I mean, you see, the nurses weren't ready for this. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Like I was talking to somebody about that is a Trump supporter, and I said, listen, I know the economy was doing good. I know that maybe he's better than, you might think he's better than Obama or Clinton or whatever, because I think everybody has some good points and bad points. But I told them, at the end of the day, you can't just blame China for everything. Even if it did come from China, even if it was created from China, even if it was, who knows what the deal is. There was not enough masks. Okay, they lied about that because they didn't want everybody freaking out, and the nurses and the medical staff that need it didn't have a lot of them. So it was a complete lie. And then in the end, like, we covered in an episode, we don't even make rubber bands to put on Halloween masks. So why are we complaining? It's completely crazy, man. And China is just sitting there laughing and stealing our technology. And that's going to be interesting because China is the dragon that's waking up. I think Trump just banned TikTok today, straight TikTok, no more TikTok. It's a very popular app.
Kids.
And, it's very interesting because their argument in China is that, all the technology goes through America's mainframes. All the international, internet stations and the web and everything has to go through our servers. So they feel like, hey, what's the problem? I mean, we're going through you guys. And then America's argument's like, well, you steal a lot of our technology, you create your own apps, you bring spies over here, they pick up the technology, then they go back to China, they make a cheaper, more efficient app, and then they come back and sell it to us. But also, we're not allowed to have any of our apps in China. There is no, I think Facebook's banned, Google's banned, nothing.
Yep.
So they just want to, yeah. So I don't know, man. It's a very crazy time going on here. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the other side of this coin.
Right.
The other side, obviously, is that there's political interests on both sides on what they're going to do, what they're going to gain. They're both countries are definitely preparing for war.
Well, there's a Cold War going on right now. This is the beginning
of
a Cold War.
And if you're not seeing the signs, you really do need to wake up. You need to start looking at the headlines.
Right.
I'd encourage people to start watching not just news from the States, but start looking at watch international news.
Yeah, look at any international,
and then you start seeing the trends. And yeah, the trends right now are definitely espionage. They're having the stealing of secrets, not just from China and the United States, vice versa. It's been happening for a long time.
Oh yeah.
The seizing of, we're closing the consulates, the embassies are being closed in the United States. The retribution that China is doing is the same. They're closing the embassies of the United States in China, which means there is no asylum at the moment for either Chinese or American citizens in either country. Those are the beginning steps of war. That starts the war process. Now, we've talked about on this show already, probably several times, about the signing of the treaties of suing China for what they call the what is it, the People's Republic of China virus, because that's what America, that's what the Trump administration calls it, China virus. Well, they don't call it COVID.
Like I was saying,
I mean, how much more blame can you possibly put on somebody than to say it like that?
Well, look, my whole point is nobody has the data. I read some biologist, Brett Weinstein is a biologist that I follow on Twitter and Instagram, and he, I don't even know if he's on Instagram. He really has points about why it came from Wuhan. He's got a lot of good points, but take that out of the pocket and take that out of the story we're saying now. It doesn't make a difference. It could have came from Brazil. It could have came from, according to the governor of New York, it came from Europe, because it started in China, according to the governor of New York, and then it went to Europe, and then from Europe it came to New York, which was the first place it landed, and then it blew up. So at the end of the day, we weren't ready for it. Nobody was ready for it. The office that's supposed to handle these diseases, supposedly Trump took apart. I don't know, he got rid of them because I mean, I guess to save money or to look cool. I don't know. And then
they don't make him look good.
Well, nothing.
Because they keep on contradicting every fucking bullshit story he's coming out to say. That makes no sense.
And then you got Biden, who he looks like he needs to get like a microchip in the brain, because my God, I feel bad for the old man. I think he might mean well, but I don't know. He can't really even. Have you seen him speak?
It's like when Grandpa speaks at the kitchen table when everyone's eating breakfast, and he's talking about his old America, and then right as he's talking about the great golden era of America, he fucking starts having a stroke in front of the family because he starts getting choked up. Grandpa, please calm down. Grandpa, get Grandpa a glass of water. He's getting mad. Like, this man is he's not capable to handle the level of fucking shit in the platter that he's about to get handed if he wins.
There's actually if you look, one of the interviews he did with, I forget what news source, but the gentleman asked him a bunch of one or two questions, and he started talking about Latinos and black, black culture, and how black culture was, in its own essence, not as diverse as Latinos. I think the boy likes frijoles, if you know what I mean, because he
You know,
started
like
going the
frijoles, but
diversity.
he's sinking himself with that
Hey,
statement.
and then he goes, "Hey, man." He's like grandpa. Okay, you're right, but he doesn't have a heart attack. He just keeps asking, "Is that OJ?
Yeah, yeah,
Is that
exactly.
wait? Hey, man. Hey, man."
Does he still play for the Colts?
Right. Right. That's Yankee. What? Is that the Bronx? What? Bronx Bombers?
The guy is fucking out of touch, and it's a stooge. It's a
sad.
stooge
I
move.
know. It's
That's
awful.
all.
They
I'd
could,
rather
and
vote for Pelosi, and I don't give that
I
fucking. That's
totally agree with
another
it.
weird voodoo-looking doll, fucking old gizzard-ass bitch that comes out talking. But she at least has some common sense with her, her fucking fake teeth chattering, and
Well,
it's
look,
it's
I'll tell you
scary.
what. I'll tell you what. I would rather vote for Chucky's mom, who's Pelosi,
That's exactly Chucky's
because
mom.
she,
Jesus.
she comes out like, I
She
think she
can't
looks.
shut her eyes. She's like this the whole time. She's talking.
Yeah, I would vote for her, because she doesn't seem to have dementia yet. I mean, her sentences, they follow grammar to a certain degree, and
And
I
she's
don't know.
connected to what's going on. This fucking guy, the grandpa, did you tie your shoes? Grandpa. Mom, grandpa fell asleep again
Hey,
while tying
man.
his shoes.
Hey, man. Latino diversity. Reeboks. Latino. What? Rodriguez. Sorry, Reebok.
Yeah, exactly.
Reeboks.
No, no, grandpa, this it's your daughter is talking to you. No, no. I feel listen, don't get me wrong. The guy did whatever. I
He,
can't throw any praise at this fucking guy because the guy's done nothing. But yeah, but whatever. They like to sell this picture to you like he did. What did he even do with fucking Obama? Nothing. What did he do? He kept going back to the mines in PA. I'm from Stratton and I'm proud of it. Who gives? Okay, good for you. That's all I ever heard out of that fucking guy's mouth. That he's from Stratton and his pappy used to work in the mines.
well, all I know is he spent a lot of time, in politics, and I guess
Doing
he must have
nothing.
done some good things. But let me tell you, my whole opinion is that there's something wrong with the guy. And if you really think you're going to stand him up next to Trump, you got something coming. Trump's going to take his head off and eat his brains out. Because let me tell you something. Out of 330 plus million Americans, this is what we got, man. This is what we got. Anyone else? I mean, whoever he picks for vice president is going to be interesting, because it's going
I
to be.
hope when he goes up there and when he goes up to the campaign coming down in November, and they announce their campaign running mate for the first time, that Biden goes up there with a little glare in his eyes as he's looking at the whole conference, fucking everybody 6 feet apart with a fucking plexiglass next to them. And he's looking at every one of them and he says, I want to announce for my running mate, the American bison.
Well, most likely he's going
Just
to
some
pick. Listen,
fucking out of this world. And then
look,
they'll fucking bring a bison
yeah.
that grazed the lands of Utah and he's going to fucking mount the thing. I would
Well,
pay money for that. I would vote for him
I actually
at that moment.
I think Biden. I think
And then it would be Biden and bison for president.
he's supposed to be picking a very strong African American women, but I
Of
think,
course he is. God, what a power play.
but
A
of course,
woman and she's black. Fucking, you got it. You won.
right? And
Like when McCain picked that fucking girl out of Alaska.
oh
I
God,
own Hillary.
what's her name? Damn it!
God, that crazy lady. All the
And
rednecks went crazy over her.
Oh,
They
they
went
thought she was
bananas
hot.
over
She
her.
was like doing all kinds
Sarah
of like
Palin.
straight pale Palin. Because whitest woman I ever seen in my life. Lord have mercy.
Pale as could be. God
My
almighty, from
God, there was
Alaska.
photos with her with her freaking 45 Magnum, and she's just
Keep,
looking at it, just, all, you
yeah.
know, with the cowboy hat and all these
It was
guys.
hanging on every fucking tool shed of the fucking Republicans' garage.
Tell you, the rednecks and all the hillbillies
Oh,
had a
God.
poster of her up there, and they were looking at her every night, going, "I'm pale for pale."
I even remember they made a porno with her called Nailin' Palin. I'll never forget it. Came out fucking, it was a sellout hit. Nailin'
I
Palin.
never saw, but I wouldn't be surprised. My God. Well, I don't know, guys, how we went from Transformers to Mass to Nailing Palin. This is the
This is the
Nexus
wormhole.
Wormhole. It's the wormhole, and all the ideas that I had, and all the great ways I was supposed to change the world came down to nailing Palin. Let me tell you something. You can't win. You can't win this fight. I'll tell you that much.
It's America.
You got it. But yeah, it seems to me that, you know, there's not much we can do about it. We just gotta, you know, move on and try to figure out stuff the best way we can and keep our cool. And I don't know, this is gonna be a circus show, man. I'll tell you that much, because I don't know if you keep seeing this pastor that came out. Brace yourself. Brace yourself.
Fucking Pastor
Brace
Casawa, whatever, Duca, whatever his name is.
I'll tell you what,
Let's talk about that, and let's see. You know,
I'll be hiding out. No, supposedly this pastor had a revelation where he saw all these. He had a dream, and he saw, you know, Russians and Chinese. You know, Red Dawn. He saw Patrick Swayze.
Basically, he watched Red Dawn right before he went to sleep, and he fucking
passed out with Jack Daniels.
And you know, when you're that involved and lost in fucking reading Apocalypse all day on the Bible, and then you watch Red Dawn, you can only imagine the dreams that come to you.
And look, don't get me wrong, maybe something horrible is going to happen, but the way that this is described, and the people that the people that want this to happen, and the people that are loving this, the people that are terrified, I'm telling you, Swayze's gone. Swayze.
God, we could use his roundhouse kick right now.
Roundhouse is a great movie. I need to watch
that roundhouse kick.
Well, do you remember that one? That's it.
Of course I do. Roundhouse.
He's a bodyguard. He's a what is he, a roadie? What? No, he works at a bar.
He works at a bar. Just roadhousing kicks everywhere.
Oh man.
Just stay out of my bar.
That's right. Oh, they don't make him like they used to.
No, but you know, going back to this pastor, you know, the guy has a vision, a premonition that he says he had a dream. He saw this stuff happening in December. He didn't understand it. There was a calendar, and he kept on seeing the highlighted dates of March and June, and then that things were going to get really bad in March. And then he saw what we're living right now.
And he also reads a lot of newspapers and reads a lot.
And he's reading like over 40 newspapers a day.
His mind's probably working like a computer.
Around the clock. I mean, yeah, he's like fucking Jarvis from the Avengers, you know? The guy's around the clock working for Tony Stark. So with all that said.
Well, with all that said, is there any, I mean, I don't know. I don't really keep up. Did he say anything that has any hope? Anything like, what do you stock up on chicken soup?
Nothing hopeful. Nothing hopeful.
Just
we're going down to the shitter. So hold on tight. Because he said
pack your shotgun. That's it.
And he said he was going to pack his guns and be prepared and hold his land and hold his own. Because he's ready for action, Jackson.
Ready? Are those riskies dropping in? Oh my God! Let's get to the silo. It's finally happening. Red Dawn. I don't even. Yeah. Wolverines forever.
Exactly.
All I remember.
But you know, okay. Breaking it down in a more simplified way,
Sure.
without getting into prophecies and all this other shit. We're having times are bad. They're not good.
They're gonna get worse.
And they're gonna get worse. And we were saying this before we ever heard about this pastor.
Oh yeah.
They were gonna get worse. And they are gonna get worse before they can get better. And if we're not gonna do anything to make the situation better, then it's only gonna get worse.
You got it.
But one thing that got my attention was what Bill Gates said this week. He said, there's going to be a pandemic that's going to be a lot worse than COVID, and it's a different disease that's coming. Now, this fucking guy.
How does he know? My God.
I would listen, and the only reason I'd say I would listen to him is for
I'm listening. Reason. I didn't hear this, but I'm listening.
Oh yeah,
now.
He came out with this week. This week, you guys can Google it. Well, let's see. Let's take a look. Let's go. Let's backpedal a little bit on Bill Gates's what do you call it? Anthropological endeavors, right? He's an anthropologist. Is that what they call these fucking guys that you don't know what they do for a living?
No,
philanthropist.
Yeah, anthropology and archaeology.
Anthropology.
It's okay. It's just brainwaves.
Yes, philanthropist. That's what he is.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead.
The art of filling you with shit. Philanthropy.
Right.
So what does this guy do? We know that he's been testing vaccines for many years in Africa. He's been testing all the vaccines that eventually come to America that are patented under his name and his company. He's fucking raking millions. He's raking probably more millions than selling his fucking shit virus Microsoft machines that are completely full of Norton antiviruses that don't work. And he's been testing viruses for years out there with African people.
Right.
Thousands of people have children, have all obviously not benefited from the testing. They've been hurt pretty bad, and yet they don't report it. They only report that they finally got a vaccine that was tested, and obviously it's never 100% proof, and then they bring it to the States. He's a firm supporter of depopulation, of population control.
Right.
So he is part of the big corporations, the Bilderberg groups, the trilateral commissions. He's involved with all of the superpowers that move the world.
Right.
And he seems to be, every time you see this fucking guy on CNN, he's all giddy, laughing and giggling and moving and shaking his little body. Yeah. Every time he talks about COVID, like one of his little fucking twisted philanthropy fantasies came true. Okay? So he's going to rake millions with the vaccines that are coming in because he's in the forefront of making this shit.
Everyone out there, you guys can experiment. I'll wait for you guys to turn blue and red.
Exactly.
Because I'm not taking one.
Exactly. So this guy
right away.
I just basically broke it down to you guys, is in the business of depopulation through testing his fucking weapons of mass destruction, vaccine injections,
weapons
on innocent people,
destruction,
butt plug destruction. And now he comes out on a statement to tell us, hey guys, what's coming is a lot worse than COVID. I would listen to what this fucking guy has, because this is what he does for a living. That scares me.
Well, yeah, of course it scares me, because what he's saying is there might be, my opinion, this has always been a weird disease. I think there might be, this is a theory. Of course, I have nothing to back it up. This is not real, but there might be, listen,
gut feelings, man.
Well, gut feeling tells me that this virus could be 2 or 3 different viruses. Some people have different effects, different side effects. Maybe it's mutating. Maybe the pathogen is growing. I don't know, but I did not see that, but of course I'm listening to what he says, because he's Bill Gates. Why would he say that? You know what I mean? It's kind of like when Lex Luthor or Joker tells you something funky, weird in a comic book.
This fucking guy is a Lex Luthor. There is no doubt about it. This guy smiles. Nobody knows. Did you ever see that special on Stephen Hawking, how fucking abusive he was on his wives?
No, I never did. I have to see that.
Well, Stephen Hawking was regarded as like, you know, obviously one of the most brilliant minds, like right up there with Einstein.
Yeah, and divorced too, I think.
And the guy, I think he went through 2, 3 fucking women. And listen, you gotta give it to this guy. When you can sit there fucking rock solid on a chair and you're still getting some pussy, you gotta be the man. Because this guy is slobbering on himself. The guy's, he can't take a shit. He can't pee. He's sitting there on that machine, and somebody finds him extremely attractive. The guy's got moves.
Take off the bra now. I want to see them.
The guy's got moves.
Put him between my head. Please come closer, faster,
He must
faster.
talk amazing game on that little vocoder machine of his, right?
Oh, man,
so as it goes, the guy was real abusive to his fucking girl.
Where did you see it? At a documentary or something?
Documentary, yeah.
What's the name of it? Do you remember?
It just Stephen Hawking documentary.
Netflix or YouTube?
It might be on Netflix. I think it was on Netflix or Amazon. I don't remember. It's probably on YouTube too.
Well, you know, I always believe everyone has a dark side to a certain degree. No, none of us are angels, and anyone that tells you that this is, he's an angel. Look at him. Hello, everybody.
And it's hilarious to think of that, but the guy was verbally abusive, and the women that they were with him, he had several, said that he fucking deconstructed them mentally with his fucking super Hawking powers and his little robot voice.
Put the lemonade down. You really want to suck it hard, the lemon. You are the lemon. Put the lemon. Don't leave. Come back, you nasty.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Archetypes. I'm using archetypes to break you. You know, kind of psychology, psychiatry.
A black hole. The way I'm about to put it in your black hole. You know.
I am the quasar coming into your panties. Anti-gravity coming in right now. Right.
So if I'm bringing this example, to fucking mirror the insanity of Bill Gates, we all think this fucking guy looks like Mr. Rogers. He always rocks the same sweater. He rocks the same collar shirt underneath, and he's always smiling at you. And he's, oh, look, it's Bill. Oh, let me tell you about Billy Gates. This fucking guy, you gotta watch for. This guy's got issues.
Hey, did you? Yeah, well, he was flying with Epstein. Let me tell you, I'll leave that there.
Yes, he was.
I'll leave it there. But did you see the judge that had her son the saddest? Yeah, and she had the Epstein case and the Deutsche Bank case too against
This is
Ronald.
This is really.
It's to me, it's very sad because she's
scary, and they're not getting national attention on this.
Oh,
very strange. Very strange.
But she came out with a video either this morning or yesterday, speaking of how it happened because she was there. Her husband was shot.
Yeah.
The kid was 20 years old. You can Google it. You could probably. I don't even like to talk about it because it scares the hell out of me.
They killed
the kid. I mean, the guy came in with a FedEx package. I don't know if he was dressed up like it was complete. He was supposed to be. He was Catholic. He was supposed to be ushering, but he was tired. They had a party. I think it was somebody's birthday, or I don't even know. It's the saddest thing ever. You can Google and see the judge speaking about it because she's smart enough to do so right now to let people know what happened. Yeah, because you don't know something could happen to her. It's so creepy. It's so terrifying.
And the
guy, where are we?
Killed himself.
This is like the Falcon and the Snowman. Where are we? I mean, this is nuts,
is Manchurian Candidate shit.
This is like where's Redford? What? This is nuts. What, are we going backwards? So creepy. It's so creepy, man. Terrifying.
And at the same time, the creep factor is very understandable because they hold in their possession the FBI. I don't know. I don't think the CIA is involved. I think FBI was the ones that have spearheaded this throughout from the get-go and catching Epstein. Now they caught this fucking weird lady, Maxine, whatever her weird name is.
Oh yeah,
Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever. They have information on powerfable people. They don't just have information on
videos.
Two people. They may not. It's not made. They have videos.
Tangible stuff.
Tangible evidence. And Of course, just the way they send off somebody to kill Epstein in the prison, which he was killed. Obviously, we know that.
Cameras off, all
The
kinds of.
camera,
Come on.
everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and then we had a medical examiner comes in and says, "No, this man did not hang
What the
himself.
best in
This
the
guy,
states?
they killed him."
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have the judge that has been granted, the case. She's the one that's going to oversee it, and they send somebody to kill her. Who, by the way, the person that goes to kills her son almost kills her husband. She's the lucky one.
Right.
Um, the
It's
the
so
the
sad.
shooter goes and kills himself. That to me also it reminds me of the Dark Knight when they fucking get that guy. They got the killer out of Arkham that shoots at Gordon. A fractured mind, somebody with a past that is
Well,
completely
I
tarnished.
don't know too
You don't
much.
know who that.
Well, the
Nobody
guy
knows
lived.
the guy.
Well, no,
Nobody knows.
some people they do actually. I think he was in law. I read something about him. He lived
But he
alone.
kills himself. He
Well, let
kills
me tell
himself.
you, you're nailing it. What I'm saying is the
But
guy
they
was a
could have
good
killed him.
candidate for maybe brainwashing or something. Man, it's so
Brainwashing,
creepy. It's so
or they
creepy.
had or he could have had debts, or he owed somebody a favor. Did he kill himself? We'll never know. Just like we never know what the fuck happened to Osama bin Laden. But at the same time, did somebody kill him? Probably. Did he kill himself because somebody had a gun to his head? Probably. This
Who
is
knows?
big. We're
Yeah,
talking
this is
about Gates,
what
Clinton,
scares me.
Princess.
Like you just nailed it. You just said it. How come everyone's so quiet about this case? I
Oh
mean, you
yeah,
have to Google it. She came out
yeah.
with a video, and it's not me. I haven't seen it in YouTube or Yahoo.
Oh, very
Yahoo, nobody wants
strange.
to touch it, and it's like,
No. And did you
and
see the judge granted permission um, to release documents of all the emails that Ghislaine Maxwell
yeah,
was going
right,
back and forth with Epstein, and there's also tons of documents with all incriminating names, and every one of the names that was incriminated, and obviously these are powerful people. Every one of them was redacted out of the document, so you can't tell who they're talking about.
right,
Number one, and number two, for every one of those people that their names have been redacted from the document, they've been given the opportunity to get their own attorney
right, right.
and prepare themselves for representation because they know what's coming is going to be a storm.
I don't know. I keep thinking of all the things that are going to happen. With the election and with COVID and with the economy is going to be the real killer, unfortunately. And if something is going to be horrible, it's going to be people next year that are not going to be able to pay their bills. That's terrifying. And then Bill Gates talking about something else. I'm like, well, great. What do you know, man? Like, telling you, man, this is like Brave New World. I feel like I'm in the Dark Knight Returns. I'm about to hang
Yeah.
out, shave my head, and hang out with the what are they called, the freaking Bat Boy or whatever whatever they're called.
Which ones?
Oh, the Sons of Batman. They all
Oh my
wear.
God. Yes. We're in fucking hockey pads. We're at
I
it.
am gonna hockey pad up. Yeah,
We're
well,
at it.
it's time to wrap it up. You got any things to say to the people out there listening?
As always, just look through the lines, look through the cracks, observe the unobservable, think outside the box, look up these people. Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Prince, what's his name, Albert, or whatever his fucking name is. These people they all sleep together. These people have been hurting and ruining people's lives. Innocent people, poor, hard-working people, just like me and you. And they've been shitting on us for a long time. Wake up. You know what? It's time to take the pitchfork and ram it up your ass.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if anyone out there is, believe it or not, age of Aquarius, things are starting to break, systems starting to change a bit. Things are coming out that have been they've been hidden for a long time, and everyone out there use critical thinking. Always look at the problem with 2 or 3 different views, but also critical feeling. Do not let people manipulate the way you feel and the way you should act in certain situations according to your emotions. Anyway, that's about it. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for listening, and stay safe out there.
You are in the Nexus Wormhole.
You are in the Nexus Wormhole with your host, Sonic Rascal.